everybody, it's Dominic here. In the spirit of self-care, sometimes we'd like to do different things to change our mind. And today we're going to do a bit of gardening, inside gardening. So one thing I'm going to do, I have 2 containers here. They're just plain containers, yogurt container, mini donut container. We're going to put some soil in there and plant some seeds. Maybe your child would like to have a little garden on the windowsill. That's always a fun project for them to watch the seeds grow. And the other project I have is this very sad looking plant that I kind of neglected recently. And I'm not absolutely sure it's still alive, but we're going to repot it. And hopefully in a few weeks we can look at it and it will be like, yes, it's alive. Because it's kind of doesn't have enough soil, so I got more soil. And we're going to keep the same pot, but we're going to change the soil and refresh it. So you're with your kids or you're by yourself and you want to do some gardening, a little bit of greenery on your windowsill, something you want to look every day, say, oh, has it popped up? Do I have a little plant coming up, a flower or anything? Today, I don't have a whole lot of seeds, but I have bean seeds. They're always fun to grow. And I have lettuce seeds, so I'm going to do 2 pots, one of each. A bean in that would be a little bit too small, but it might not be. You're not really growing at this point for having the vegetable. It's just for a little project to look at. So I have a potting soil here that I got at the store. So in my potting soil is a light soil. I have a little, if you look at the soil, you might see maybe there's a little white stuff like styrofoam that will help keep the moisture in. When I'm watering the plant, it's gonna keep the moisture in my plant. So this is a potting soil. At the store, sometimes you'll see like black soil, black earth, or composted manure. For an inside plant, I would not really recommend that. I would recommend having a potting mix, and there's some cheaper one, a couple of $2-3 for a bag, and that could do a whole lot of containers. And you can try different things. For seeds though, you'll some that's for sale at your grocery store, or you can share it with other people. Maybe some family members are growing a garden, they haven't used all their seeds, and the seeds, they're good for a few years, but after a while you want to pass them on because you're not sure they're going to grow next year after a few years. So this is the case here. I have some seeds that I have for a couple of years. There's our green beans. I'm going to plant them. See the seeds? Oh wow, I have way too much. They look like Tic Tac. In this little pot, I'm just going to put 3 of them. So about a couple of inch apart, like I'm doing a little triangle. Okay, let me bring it closer. Got my seeds in there. I'm going to push them a little bit, maybe an inch in. I'm going to cover them with the soil. And my soil, I've already pre-mixed it with water so it's not dry, it's not powdery. And I have it, I'll show you, I have it in like a grocery bag like that, that's waterproof. And I just put some soil there and some water and I mixed it so that it's holding together, it's not dry, it's nice and moist. So I've got my beans in there, and then the next one I'm going to add some lettuce, sorry. I always say salad. Lettuce, the leaf, and this is just like a little gem. It's a little green lettuce, kind of the lettuce seeds are very small. They're little grains. And I'm just going to put a few, and I don't have to be too picky about that where I'm going to put it, because then I'll have a few plants growing, and I'll lightly cover it. You don't want to put a lot of soil on top, and just press it to have a good contact with the soil. I'm going to give that a little bit of watering. And something I forgot to say, underneath my pot I poked some holes with a knife, just creating a little hole and being safe with it, just so that when I watered it, any excessive water is going to go through and not be stuck. Because if this water collects in there, it's just going to suffocate your seed, and it's going to stink, and it's going to smell not good. So I'm going to keep them by the windowsill. I'm going to check on it regularly I might need to water, depending on the heat. When it's super hot, I might want to, and if you have a south-facing window, it might dry up faster, but like, so a little bit of water in the morning, and then a couple of days later, you just keep, you don't want it to be soaking, and you don't want it to be gone dry, like forget about it like I did with this plant. And it's just supposed to be a fun thing, something to look forward to when it's gonna pop, when you start to see the first leaves coming out or the first stem coming up, something to look forward to and enjoy, especially with your child. It's gonna be like, oh, what's going on? A little time to educate them about where food comes from in some weird way. So this is done. One thing to remember when you have your little plant and you made holes, the water's gonna go through it, so you wanna make sure you have something to catch the water. Either an aluminum dish or just the lid of the pot that you're using. That should be good enough. So we have here, this is an inside plant, a flowering plant called lipstick plant. Haven't flowered in a while, and we've watered it recently because I realized I've forgotten about it and it looked really sad. So, and it's full of roots, and there's not a whole lot of soil. Like the plant has eaten up all the nutrition in the soil, because this has been a couple of years at least that I haven't repotted it. So I cut a lot of the branches that look a little bit sad and dried up. The leaves are not looking like the leaves. I mean, the roots, they're pretty dark. There's no new roots. They all look a little sad. I'm going to trim it a little bit. Sometimes trimming it a little bit, depending on what plant it is, it might stimulate the production of new roots, and I'm kind of squeezing it a little bit, trying to get most of the soil out. And I want to add soil, my compost, to my pot here. I've got some of that potting soil. So different potting soil. Some potting soils are for vegetables and fruits or for anything. This would be a plant. You could a plant for inside plant or flowering plant potting soil. But to be honest, any potting soil would do. At this point, this plant needs some help. So in the bottom of my pot, this particular plant, there's a few rocks at the bottom, so it's not sitting in water. It's not always necessary, depending on what kind of plant it is. But so I've got the few rocks in the bottom, then I put the soil, and I'll re-put my plant in there. I want to get more soil out of this so that I can add more fresh soil. If it's full of the old soil that has no more nutrition, it's hard for the plant to. I really don't know if it's gonna make it. It's pretty sad. It's so dry and not happy. This is what happens when you neglect your plant. I feel very sad about this. This plant's been in my kitchen at St. Mary's for over 12 years, before my time. I know people would be disappointed if I neglected it and let it go. Like, I'm trying my best here, please. So I'm just adding soil around it. I'm not pushing too hard because we need to have some air in there. So, but I'm also not leaving any pockets that there's like stick my finger in it, and then there'll be like a big empty hole in there. I want it to be firm enough. This is pretty good. Again, there I will want something to put underneath. I will water it slowly because it's so dry that it has trouble absorbing water. I'm gonna let it sit for a bit. I'm not a pro in inside plants. Flowering inside plants is not the thing I like the most. I prefer garden plants outside. But still, you need to take care of what's given to you. And then water the other plants that I just sow. And when you water, keep an eye on it. Once you've watered, the water goes through that. It is, the holes that you made at the bottom are working. The water is dripping through them. So I think that's it. I'm gonna put this plant back into the cage. It usually is above my table in the kitchen. Keep an eye on it. I'll promise to water it in a few weeks to see how it's going. Thank you. And don't forget, if you find projects that you're interested in, something like gardening, go for it, research it, find something that you're looking forward to seeing every day, see the change and growing. You'll learn a lot, and you teach your kids also a lot with it.
Dirty hands.